Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my channel, Do Ministry Gaming, and in this video, I want to share with you the results of a little test that I did in order to try to answer the very specific question of whether an auspicious Valdo's Watchstone is worth using or not. And so the reason why I did this test is because the auspicious Valdo's Watchstone is quite expensive. For those who aren't familiar with what an Auspicious Watchstone is, it is like one here that I've got in my inventory. And the Auspicious is a particular mod that can roll on a Watchstone that says Harbingers and areas drop rare value currency shards. And when it's paired with Valdo's Rest, it is very, very good. At the time of the making of this video, the Watchstone is about 7.3 to 7.4 exalts. I actually bought mine for 8 exalts 2 days ago when I started doing this test and putting the idea of testing the Watchstone together. And so for a lot of players, this is not cheap at all. And so it'd be really nice to actually have a idea at least, or a sense, or even a ballpark of whether buying this Watchstone is going to be worth it or not. Now, Valdo's Rest Harbinger farming strategy has been gaining a lot of popularity in the last couple of weeks, especially with Crouching Tuna's video showing some really insane results when you're juiced up to the maximum. There's also been a lot of other content creators showing that the strategy is viable at low investment levels as well. And so this video isn't to talk about whether the strategy is good or not. I can tell you the setup that I ran, which I will go through, is profitable and works quite well, and I'll show you the numbers around that as well. But again, the video isn't to actually say whether this is a good strategy or not, and what kind of setup you need. This video is specifically to talk about this particular Watchstone and how valuable this Watchstone is and how long it's going to take you to actually pay out for this Watchstone. All right, so the way I went about testing it was I basically ran 15 maps with the Auspicious Watchstone and 15 maps without the Auspicious Watchstone. And really in the setup, the only thing I changed is I replaced the Auspicious Watchstone with another laden Tier 2 Watchstone in the second set of 15 maps. And then I tracked all the data, and I will present that data in a spreadsheet later in the video. And so 15 maps with and 15 maps without is not really all that much data. Okay, so definitely take this test with a grain of salt. However, I was able to at least gain some insight for myself, even just by running these 15 maps. I mean, I can tell you immediately that when you run the Watchstone, it is very noticeable. Qualitatively, within 5 maps, you are going to notice a step change. And this isn't just me. There's a couple other folks in my community who have been running the same test without Watchstone and then bought the Watchstone and have noticed the same thing. So you will notice it. And I'll show you in the data too. Even within 15 maps, you're going to see the frequency of seeing Exalted Shard drops go way up running this Watchstone. But at the end of the day, it still isn't that much data. So, take this with a grain of salt. But I do try to quantify everything as best I can to give you a number as to really the value or the worth of this Watchstone. Now, for those who are looking ahead, I do have a total profit per hour number down here at the bottom. This number is just there to say this strategy, regardless of whether I had the auspicious or not, is profitable, first of all. And second of all, this is the number I was making per hour with all of the items that I dropped in these test maps, okay? And so these are pretty respectable numbers, especially with the auspicious. Around 200 chaos per hour is definitely not bad at all in profits. But this is not the number that I'm using specifically to calculate the auspicious Watchstone value, because there is, like I say, it is including all the drops. And so, for example, in the first set of 15 maps, I actually dropped more red maps than I did in the second set. And so the Auspicious Watchstone has nothing to do with red maps. And so later in the video, in my spreadsheet, I will show you actually the shard value alone, which is really what the Auspicious Watchstone impacts, and we'll use those numbers to calculate the exact sort of value of this Watchstone. But anyway, to walk you through the setup that I ran 15 Canyon maps for both. In the first one, I ran one Auspicious Watchstone and 3 Laden Watchstones, so 2 T1s and 1 T2, with the Atlas Ascendancy as well, which is this one right here, called Secret of the Stones and Uncharted Realms. Watchstone modifiers get 25% increase effect. That will give me a total of about 48% increased chance to drop a full stack, a stack of currency shards, is what that number worked out to, okay, between these 3 laden watchstones. And then for all the maps, I did run Awakened Sextants, okay? I did not spam these at all. I didn't even re-roll them. I literally just ran whatever 4 that I got for every 4 rolls. I didn't get any Nemesis mods in any of these, okay? So it was just a standard, you know, do 4 and run them. It doesn't matter what the mods are. And then I did run the Harbinger map mod device and a rusted Harbinger Scarab and nothing else. No other Scarabs involved here. And so the variable cost to run for each of these maps was actually about 28C when you calculate the Canyon map, the Awakened Sextants, the map device, Harbinger mod, as well as the Harbinger Scarab. It's about 28C per map. And when you run this particular setup, you do have a total profit even after that of 194 chaos per hour. Now in the second set, all the exact same stuff. I replaced the Auspicious Watchstone with another laden Watchstone. It was a T2. I think it's about 8 or 9%, something like that. And the profits dropped to 86 chaos per hour. And a large part of that, I will say, is related to the Watchstone. And so I'll go over that in a second here. Now, just, you know, one more quick comment. Okay, I understand there's another level you can juice this to. The point here isn't to be maximum juice. Okay, if you want to see that data or how that works, Crouching Tuna already has an incredible video showcasing that and showing the setup where he's rolling 100 Awakened Sextants just to get Nemesis mod. Okay, I'm not doing that here. This is really, again, specific to discovering for someone who's right around the point where you're deciding whether you want the Auspicious Watchstone or not, and you have the capacity to buy it, you know, this video is to help you try to make that decision by running a setup that you're probably right around if you're at the point you're deciding to buy this Watchstone or not, spending 7x on it. You're probably running something similar to a setup like this. Not ultra juiced, but you know, not budget either. And so that's the kind of setup I try to run here. But again, if you're looking for that next level, okay, it exists, and that is not what this video is for. All right, so quickly before I dive into a spreadsheet of the numbers, just show you the loot from the 15 maps with the Auspicious Watchstone and without the Auspicious Watchstone. I did tuck the maps away in a couple other tabs, and so you're not seeing them here, but these are all the currencies, and really the ones that are related to the Auspicious Watchstone are really the shards, right? And you can see from the shards, I didn't drop any raw Exalteds or ancient orbs themselves. So this is all attributable to the shards themselves. And so with the Auspicious Watchstone, I actually dropped 1 full Exalted Orb worth of shards and 13 more. So this is 33 Exalted shards total, and then 7 Ancient Orbs and 8 shards. So this is 148 Ancient shards. And these are really the ones of value. The rest of these, you know, raw Chaos drops plus Chaos shards. Chaos shards not worth that much. I mean, you have to collect 20 just for 1 chaos, so it's really not going to change the number that much. And when I do the Excellence Nest, the top 3 value items are Exalted shards and Ancient shards. Okay, so these are really what drives the value of the Valdo's Rest farming strategy. But like I say, we'll look at specifically the shard values in a spreadsheet in a second here. And then without the Auspicious, you can see I didn't even get a full Exalted shard orb worth of shards, right? So I basically got 1 full Exalted or more worth of shards in the Auspicious versus without, and then much less Ancient Orbs as well, which, like I say, is what the key driver to the value is. All right, so here is the data for each of my map runs with the Auspicious and without the Auspicious. And like I say, this is where we're going to determine the actual value of the Auspicious Watchstone by tracking just the shard value between the 2 runs. I took everything else out, and even Chaos and Horizon shards, they really didn't amount to much value at all that would move the needle. And so really in these tables, you're only seeing Exalted shards and Ancient shards. I didn't drop any mirror shards between the 2 runs. And basically, the top table represents the first 15 maps with the Auspicious Watchstone, and the next 15 maps without the Auspicious Watchstone in the bottom table. And what I've got here is per map, how many Exalted shards I dropped, how many Ancient shards I dropped, and then the total value of these shards at 8 chaos per Exalted shard and 0.75 chaos per Ancient shard. And so the few immediate insights is that when I ran it with the Auspicious Watchstone, I got 33 Exalted shards and 148 Ancient shards total, with a total value of 375 chaos. And then without the Auspicious Watchstone, I only got 13 Exalted shards in 15 maps, 73 Ancient shards for a total value of 159 chaos. Okay, so if you look at the numbers, I got 20 less Exalted shards and 75 less Ancient shards. This is almost half with or without the Auspicious Watchstone, and as a result, half the value or more even, because it's weighted more towards the Exalted shards here. The other thing I want to point out is when you're not running the Auspicious Watchstone, you have a lot of zeros in Exalted shards. There are, it's not that common that you see Exalted shards. As a matter of fact, there were only 4 maps where I even saw an Exalted shard when I didn't run the Auspicious Watchstone. But when I did, it ramped up to 10 maps where I got at least an Exalted shard. And so that's a big difference. When I have it, it's noticeable. Within 5 maps, you're going to notice the increase in Exalted shard drops and the Ancient shard drops as well. So to that point, Ancient shards, with the Auspicious, you're getting a lot of 10 plus maps, whereas without the Auspicious, the numbers are a lot thinner there. And so over here is just a graph to visualize this data. The bars, of course, represent each map and how many Ancient shards in the orange and Exalted shards in the blue that I got. And to see the drop off, the first 15 maps is with the Auspicious Watchstone, and then the last 15 maps here are without. To see the drop off more clearly, I showed a line that represents the average. And so in the first 15 maps, I averaged about 9.9 Ancient shards per map and 2.2 Ancient Exalted shards, per map. And that dropped when I removed the Auspicious Watchstone and replaced it with the 4th Laden Watchstone, immediately almost by half, to 4.9 Ancient shards per map and 0.9 Exalted shards per map. You can see, the blue bars almost completely went away. There's so many maps where you wouldn't even drop an Exalted shard, and the Ancient shards really thinned out as well. There were a couple maps where I got a pretty big stack here, but really, if you're looking through the data here, those almost look more like anomalies than the average. But then down here is really the math that matters, I think. So when I do all the math, the difference per map in terms of shard value, right? So if I take 375 minus 159 and then divide that over 15 maps, I get a 14 chaos per map difference in value with and without the Watchstone, okay? But you have to consider that the Watchstone itself is 7.3 exalts, right? And so the Watchstone is 7.3. However, in the no auspicious case, I'm also running a 4th Laden Watchstone, which is about 1.3 exalts. And so the net difference between the two scenarios is actually just straight up 6 exalts. And so the 6 exalts is 900 chaos. So if I'm making 14 chaos more per map, and I have to pay back 900, it'll actually take me 62 maps to just break even on the Watchstone. So the answer that I've concluded, and again, this is a very small sample set, but at least from this data for myself, I'm able to convince myself at least that if I plan to farm Valdo's Rest with my current setup, for at least 62 maps, it's worth it for me to have this Watchstone. And if I don't, then it's probably not worth it for me to buy the Watchstone. All right, everybody, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found the video helpful. And if you did, please like and subscribe. I also stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Times are in the description below. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.